Hi, and welcome back to the Making It series, Creative Careers Unlocked. I'm Sadie Clayton, the host, and I'm the Head of Industry Engagement and Partnerships here at LCCA. Today, I am with the Alizé Demange. She is the stylist, creative director and content creator of the fashion industry, working with incredible musicians like Cleo Sol, Georgia Smith, Mahalia, you name it, she's got it. Here we are with Alizé Demange, the one and only, the coolest, let's face it, of the era stylist. Music stylist, trendsetter. You're so authentically you. It's just so inspiring. So thank you so much for having me today. And I want to go back to where it all began. I want to know about your career journey, how you started, and for the students as well. You know, what did you study at uni? What uni did you go to? Etc. etc. Fill us in.
Okay, cool. So if we're gonna go rewind it all the way to 2009, I always knew I wanted to work in fashion or like be an artist. I was always like a really creative child, and I was like, I don't know, I started to just watch movies and watch TV shows and just kind of get enamored by like clothing. I was really inspired by my grandma. Like, she had an epic wardrobe.
Amazing.
So I just always kind of knew that I wanted to be like in that world. And then at the time, like, it was like, okay, you're gonna go do a foundation course and then you're gonna eventually go off to do fashion BA. In my head, I thought I want to be a fashion designer because that was the only pathway that I understood in fashion. I didn't understand the other roles. And I feel like at the time there wasn't like social media or just a lot of open discourse on other fashion roles.
It's exactly why we're creating this, yeah. So exactly. We can tap into those different careers.
So I just thought, I want to be a fashion designer. So I went to Kingston University and did the Art and Design Foundation course, which is what was necessary to be able to go on to BA. Like the pathway, there was a styling pathway. There was one of our modules was styling. And I was like, I really like this. Like, I like this so much more. It was just more about like connecting loads of dots and creating like a narrative rather than like making something. But then I did go on to do a fashion design BA. I did 6 months, I dropped out. I didn't really go to any of my classes. I also was undiagnosed ADHD, and I feel like there was definitely a lack of connection to the course.
And support probably as well, yeah.
And definitely from my course leaders, etc. Like, you're actually very young when you're doing this stuff that's actually quite like big moves in your life and what quite considered as like, I don't know, the be all and end all of your life at that moment in time. So like, it really did affect me, like leaving. I ended up going to London Met. I picked a course that was fashion marketing and textile design. Much better for me. Fashion marketing has a lot to do with styling in terms of strategy, understanding your audience, etc., etc. Obviously, there's like a massive creative part of styling, but there's a big part that's about, I don't know, taking your client to a next level in terms of partnership and, you know...
And strategy, like
and strategy, yeah, exactly. And like, unfortunately, styling has a massive capitalistic aspect to it. It's a vehicle to up in your client to wherever they want to go.
Well, it's a whole vision, isn't it, as well? Yeah. Like, you're thinking about the whole, like, encompassing their world.
Exactly.
You know, you can, and we're all
and how
human.
You sell that world.
Exactly, and we're all human. Like, you could look at something and you judge it straight away, but if they've already got that level of elevation, you automatically can send them in your brain to, you know, another planet. You're thinking, I want to work with them, or you're inspired, you want to follow, you want to connect.
And that's how, like, a consumer takes that in. So like, you buy into that lifestyle, and so does a brand. And a lot of how people make their money now is through brand partnership. So like, my role as a stylist is really important in making sure that that person is whoever they want to be, or how they want to be seen, and how they want who they want to work with, etc., etc.
You're from London originally, so when you graduated, were you like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I contact? Here's my portfolio. Did you have like a vision? Did you have an idea? Did you have like a little plan?
I mean, I was working from before, so from foundation, I was already interning and doing stuff for like assisting or creating my own things.
So you were building your contacts already, yeah.
Kind of working out what I wanted to do. Like, I just knew that it wasn't a possibility for me to wait till after I graduated. Like, I still had to work on the weekends, or like I still had to like work on other projects, and still had to make money as well. Even though I was living at home, there was still the aspect that I still had to deliver and do things for myself. So,
and that'll sing to you guys, because a lot of students nowadays and ours at LCCA, you know, you are also working, or you have families to support, or you know,
you've got financial responsibilities. Like, and obviously at the time, I would say cost of living was a lot cheaper in 2009. But your
all relative, though.
yeah, it's all relative, and like financial responsibility for whatever you want to do is still there, isn't it? Like whether you need to have clothes to do your things you need to do, or the content you need to make, or like, or pay your bills, it's still relevant. So I was really trying to make sure that like the things I did do or work on was kind of relevant to what I wanted to do as much as I could. I worked as a door girl for many nightclubs. I think there was a big part of me being introduced to like the music scene in London and the club scene in London, and like but then kind of developing with artists that kind of led me into becoming more of like a music-led stylist.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, you know, now if I had to think, because I know a whole pool of stylists working in fashion, but if I had to think about you as a stylist, I would suggest that you mainly work in the music industry.
Yeah.
People like Mahalia, Georgia Smith, Cleo Sol, like, you know, the best kind out there. So how did that even happen? How did you even get into that kind of specific path of music, styling musicians, these most incredible women? You need to assist. Like, the role of a stylist is the same as any, like, I don't know, labouring job, yeah? So if you want to be a plumber, you go assist a plumber. Like, obviously you learn what you do on the job, but you have to learn kind of off someone else. So a lot of my beginning instances, I was learning from someone else that I had met through the club. So you should always think about like, where you're working as well, like the part-time job, like, you know, connecting, what can you get out, networking. And like, obviously enjoying yourself. It was quite an authentic connection. Like, and I was working with a stylist called Caldervol that was the then stylist for Rita Ora, and then we also went off and did another girl band project together for a girl band called Stushy at the time, and it taught me a lot about obviously what it's like to style for an artist, talent, working with a label, working with management, and also kind of just developing a look, an image that people need to like take in, accept and understand. And I don't know, it's very interesting that when you're working with artists, especially when they're coming up, there's an image that people need to like understand really early doors, and it can't change because it needs to be repetitive in order for you to understand that this girl is the girl with blonde hair, for example, or this girl, this is what she wears. Like, so you have like a mood, a vision, a creative. It's very consistent in order for people to kind of repetitively understand that this is who the person is. Obviously, in campaigns, people changed. Like, I don't know, I feel like a really good example of that is probably like Madonna. Madonna had like, every campaign was a different look. However, in the beginning, there's the iconic look that you're known for, and that is a traditional formula for an artist in terms of like a visual narrative, consistent branding, etc. So I learned a lot with Kyle, and then I didn't assist anymore, which I don't recommend. I did go off, I did like up and down like some people for a little bit and then not, but then I kind of just wanted to do my own thing. And I also was finding it hard to find placements, I was finding it hard to find like proper internships. I really wanted to work for publication, like, because at the time it was definitely to be seen as like a real stylist. Ideally, you would have worked via a publication first. And then gone off to maybe work with talent, etc. Like, definitely assisting. And then my first kind of point, so I was assisting doing that, and then kind of that was my entry point. And then I started doing a radio host at the time called Sarah Jane Crawford, who was on One Extra, and that was kind of like my first like gig. And I got that from like a music PR girl that I'd met out and about. And I think I was just always very much out and about. I'm going to say, it sounds like here, you're doing a lot of, like networking, like contacting, connecting. And just so enjoying what I was doing. I think there was me at the time, I was gassed to do anything. I wanted to do anything and everything. And I wanted to have that yes attitude, that tenacity, that motivation, which some people, you know, now lack. They say, don't they, like, you can be talented, you can have motivation. But often, if you've got more motivation than talent, you're the one that will succeed, because that's what drives success. So, you know, having that kind of balance of both is so important. There's having a passion as well. Like, I knew at the time that I wasn't really focused on like, in the earlier stages, like how much money I was going to make, because I didn't even really know how much money I was going to make from that. But like, I really enjoyed every part of styling. Like, What is it that you like about style? Is it like putting a vision together, seeing how the client feels once you've styled them?
Yes,
is it seeing the
it's
imagery?
very layered, you know. It's very layered, exactly what you're saying. There's so many different parts. It's like you're creating a story, you're creating an image, you're working with people, you're working with different people, you're making designers happy, you're making like your client happy. Like even from when you work with like a small designer and you create a big win with like an artist and the press has gone everywhere and like everyone's so gassed, like there's nothing like that feeling of getting like your pictures back from something that you've done and it's just beautiful and everyone just loves it. And there's obviously more of like a quick reward to the styling game, which I didn't think I really liked about fashion design. Fashion design, you can take a year, 2 years to build a collection. It's quite a labor of love, I would say, and it's quite isolating. I think you really are working like quite insularly, like on this thing that maybe might not be seen. Whereas like I feel like with styling, there's more of a people reactionary aspect to it, where like you are working with you're never alone. I'm never working alone. I'm always working in a team. Like,
you've got a team.
Like either from your assistants that you're working with, or you as an assistant to a stylist, but then you're also working with hair and makeup, and you're working with management, and you're working with the client themselves, and everyone's having like a little bit of an input and an opinion, and you're meant to cohesively kind of join everyone's dots together to get what they want out of it. Like it's problem solving. So I think that's what I love.
That's amazing. I love that. Can we just touch on the idea of AI and technology and like how does that work within your role, or does it not? It's all about a human touch, or do you maybe perhaps use a little bit for the vision, for the direction, for strategy?
Where people maybe don't want to do certain things, or they allow their image to be recreated in a cheaper, faster, more life-effective format through the metaverse, and maybe not utilize the creative thing. So we could be doing covers where the artist is not even coming to set anymore because they don't have to.
Of course. But then where does that leave you and your role?
And also where does that leave us all? I don't want to be judgmental as to where this will go, because I do think at the end of the day we have to gear up to prepare that we are evolving into a metaverse type lifestyle, innit? Like the more that we utilize the internet, the more that we are kind of living in an interface, it's gonna be that way in some way, and our roles will evolve. What will that be like for me? I don't know. And also, I understand that my role is not a lifetime role. I don't think styling is more like a vehicle. I think it becomes a springboard to like other things. And what has been really great about my career is that I have done a lot of other things through styling.
Like what?
So I've definitely done like creative direction.
Amazing.
I've created things. I made the first rental store in the UK. Apparently.
Amazing.
Like before there was like By Rotation and Her. I did like a project with like Westfield, and we did like a rental store for like luxury products.
That's
and
wicked.
like
so really
I do content creation. I do like
you need to pivot your creative brain to many different like, levels and panels.
Like I host, I speak, I teach. Tour LCCA. So like I know that my role in this world isn't beyond styling. Obviously, styling is like the passion that led me there, but I know
that's kind of like your foundation, like your basic, but actually, like your base. But actually, I think you've got to. We live in a hybrid world, right? So I think your brain creatively has to think in that hybrid, like format. So I love that, and I think that's really important for students to understand that when you are delivering your modules and you're working in industry, you know, getting experience, you've got to think about this kind of multifaceted way
and the whole
of
picture,
working.
The whole picture, because it's weird. Obviously, I think before, even in the 2010s when I was starting, the idea of you being a master of your own trade and people only had one job, that was everything. Like it wasn't, you couldn't be a talent and a stylist. You had to be a stylist and you need to be behind the camera.
You had to have a niche.
And it wasn't acceptable, I think. But where that has evolved, I think, from cost of living, recession,
and also people being curious and inquisitive,
and social media,
one thing,
where people are actually wanting to maybe talk about what they're doing, or just have other passions, and hobbies, or whatever they want to do.
And I think that kind of, you know, being a multi-hyphenated talent is way more exciting than just doing that same thing, mundane thing, day in, day out, day in, day out.
And I don't want to take away from someone who also does who is excellent at their amazing job that they do. Because
yeah, but just because they're excellent at one thing, it doesn't mean they can't try other things and excel in that as well. I think it's great to encourage that, you know,
and I
which
think
is what
it's
you've
about
done.
getting to know the other roles to help your role.
Yes, exactly.
Because you need to know what other roles entail in order to understand your job at its fullest.
Can you give us like a day in the life of Alizé Demange? Like if you had to go and style, you know, if you had to go and style Georgia Smith, what would that look like?
And
would it be, sorry, just to think back, would it be, if you're styling Georgia Smith, is it like for an album cover? Is it for a stage, you know, for a performance? Is it for a photo shoot? Like, have you done all three? Tell us more.
It's kind of like how generally you'll come, the artist or the talent or the manager is going to come with a brief. So essentially they're going to come to you and be like, okay, this is what we're thinking. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go off and think about that. So you start to think and like, you're like, okay, and you ask as many questions as possible. And I think that's actually a major key in terms of like every job. Ask as many questions as possible about what the job is, what they want to achieve, what they want to look like, the audience that is going to be, what like demographic is it for, where is it in the world, like all of those things are like really important things. If we're going to do something in the Emirates versus we're going to do something in the USA, this is going to be two completely different cultural aspects and thinking patterns that we need to like do. And if we're going to do something branded for Nike versus we're going to do something for a small brand, these are also two different things of how I'm going to approach a project. So trying to get as much information as possible, and then me going back thinking about that, how I want to approach it, how if it's relevant for a campaign, if it's relevant for a single, if it's relevant for a specific, I don't know, vibe that they're going for, like trying to put all of those things together into like a little cauldron melting pot, and then coming back with some ideas, getting them to accept those ideas, so approve it, and then going off to however I want to get those items. So
yeah, how do you do that?
Loaning, so that I feel like there's lots of varied ways of getting clothes. So it's either like loaning directly from designers, custom making stuff, buying things. And I guess the beg, borrow, steal attitude, like there was lots of times where I'd be like, oh, my friend's got this, can I borrow that? Will you let me that? Like, I just need this for that, or
of course.
Obviously having friends that have archives has been very, very useful
helpful,
for me.
of course.
Do you know what I mean?
So do you feel that actually styling, you get paid for your job, but you're not having to really spend up front because you're able to borrow and no, I don't know how
it really does depend on your client and what is needed. Ideally, you shouldn't have to spend your own money up front. However,
sometimes
it does happen, and it's not something that I necessarily recommend. I do recommend that the client should be fronting floats, but also things change and evolve. When I was working with labels 5 years ago, I would get my float. I would get money sent to me in order to buy things, and then there'll be a writable part of the budget which would be like, oh, if something was damaged or it fulfilled the budget that they actually wanted to spend, that would go and the artist would keep the clothes. That apparently don't really exist anymore.
Okay.
So they're not sending you the money anymore. They're not giving you the float up front. Also don't quote me, because it also depends on the status of your artist, whom the label is. UK versus America. America has a lot more budget. They are paying for their stuff. So it's just varied. I am a strong believer that you shouldn't, from my own experience, don't front your own money because you don't want to go into debt over someone that might not pay you on time.
Yeah, of course.
But obviously also if you're working as a stylist, like genuinely working as that, having your own credit card is the best, because you're able to front something that stays on there. And you can move freely with the credit card rather than it coming out of your own actual money that you need for your rent,
whatever.
However, obviously, this is not financial advice. Because having a credit card is obviously a big financial responsibility, and things can go wrong. And that is also another thing, like in terms of working with clients and making sure that you have things in writing, things on email, contracts, etc., etc.
Who manages all that for you then?
For me, I'm with an agent.
But you didn't have one in the beginning, so you had to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I had to do it all myself, and there was a lot of trial and error and understanding things and making mistakes, which I wouldn't want to recommend to other people. And that's what I'm saying, make sure that you have everything in writing. If you're unsure about something, ask your peers, ask someone that's bigger than you. There's no, like, I would never feel away if like a smaller stylist messaged me and was like, do you think this is right? In terms of like how a working relationship is going, or asking about a fee, or if someone's moving a bit crazy with you, or you just don't feel like this is actually the way that professionally we should be moving. You need to speak to your peers. And actually this is a very good point, that I think it's hard at the beginning thinking that you're all kind of in competition with each other, when really you kind of direct the lay of the land of how the industry goes. So think of it from a union perspective, but we don't have unions in the UK for creative things, but we should.
Yeah, we should.
America does.
Yeah.
That the more you speak to each other, the more you're able to direct how people treat you, or how they are meant to treat you, how much they're meant to pay you, etc., like industry standards. Because once you start taking really cheap jobs, you're messing it up for everyone else. Or vice versa, or like making sure that you're being paid at industry standard, being treated at industry standard.
Yeah.
And you're only going to know that by setting the bar, and only going to by speaking to your peers. And there's nothing, I don't know how to say
like
that.
Imposter syndrome almost, like, oh, I'm not
Imposter
worth that,
syndrome, or like
possibly after
maybe
that,
even just pride, or feeling like, but without asking, you're not going to know. But that's also another thing as to why I say assisting is really good and very important, because you will learn that from your...
Do you have assistants?
I do have assistants.
Do you have a pool of them?
I have a pool of them. And like before, when I was working, basically there was a time when I was working like 6 days out of 7 on music artists. And there was like, I had a rotation of 3, and we'd be together every week, every day.
Yeah.
And be working. And then as my career has evolved and I'm doing more content creation, half of my life, and half of my life is styling, like I have a lot more time to myself. So I book my assistants based on what my job is, and based on what the price is, and like obviously negotiation on who's available, and also on their experience. So if I've got something that's like requires someone to be really there for me, be another me, I know who to go to, etc., etc. And as they evolve as well, and like I've had some of my little kids, they've been with me for like 4 or 5 years.
Amazing.
So, and I don't know, I think it's really important to pass my expertise down.
Yeah, you're nurturing them as well, aren't you?
Exactly, and they're people, isn't it? Like, and I
and
love
that
them.
were you one day. Like,
that was me. And like, I don't know, I feel like I've had some negative experiences within fashion. I feel like there is this idea that some people do work in the devil wears Prada capacity, but is that really necessary in my opinion?
No, absolutely not.
It's not. Like...
Talking about that actually, so can you give us an example or an instance where you've got a whole rail ready for your client, and they don't like any of it, or they don't fit in it, or you're a bit like, what? This is not what you want.
It happens.
Can you give us some,
it happens. Like, some people give you the wrong size because they're convinced that they're a different size and that size.
And they don't fit the. Oh wow.
Yeah, and then it's not your fault, but it does look like it's your fault.
Yeah.
And then you know, sometimes someone just doesn't like it. Someone's communicated something that is not actually what they wanted at all, and you can only work with the facts. Which is what I've said, obviously asking as many questions as possible. But, you know, it does happen where you get the rail and it's like, nothing's working, even just out of your control.
What do you do then?
You have to, this is what I did, contingency plans, and making sure that you're having enough lead time between your final things. Ideally, you're not gonna do a fitting on the day of your shoot.
Yes.
Sometimes that does happen though. And if you are doing a fitting on the day of your, whatever your thing is, it could be a shoot, it could be red carpet, whatever. If you're going to do a fitting on the same day, you need to have an extensive amount of options because you just don't know what's going to happen. If you have time, then making sure that you've got a day and a half in between to be able to revise that in any way possible. And also sometimes people have to suck up.
Yeah, of course.
And you're gonna have to make something work that maybe wasn't the original idea, but you're gonna go forward. And I think also that's a part of being a people person and taking in the energies of the room, is making sure that you're reassuring, making sure that you're, you know, being there for the person, understanding, taking in what their concerns are, and also how can we fix this, and having a can-do attitude, because it can be super demoralizing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like when you're there and you're like, oh my God, like no one likes anything, I'm a piece of shit. But it's not reality, and like the world is not gonna end.
And also I think sometimes it's good to have those moments. It kind of keeps you grounded. It's like, okay, I need to step up, I'll do this, I'll do that, you know, like get back in the room. I think that's nice.
And like sometimes. Kind of It can be quite, I think it can be, as creatives, I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I can assume that we're all quite sensitive people.
Yeah.
And it's quite a personal endeavor, like sharing your creativity and hoping that that person's going to like it, because it is a service industry. At the end of the day, you are serving someone else and you're trying to make them happy. And when they're not happy, it does feel like your job was not done. But I guess it's also kind of working on yourself and making sure that everything is changeable, nothing's final, like we can change, we can move.
There's always solutions.
There's always a solution.
Yeah.
There's
and
always
as creative
something.
people, we are problem solvers. So we have to always remember that. We are problem solvers.
It's not the end of the world.
No.
It's not the end of the world.
Absolutely.
But obviously it does help when someone has budget, which means that you can make those problem solving.
You can afford to make
it's easier.
So we spoke about styling. I've got one more thing actually on the styling side. I want to know, what's it like working with these kind of high profile musicians? You know, and obviously I'm not asking you to name names or an instance or anything, but, you know, have you ever had that experience where there's been a bit of like a clash, or, you know, something's not quite working in your favour? And obviously as a professional fashionista in the industry, you've got to remain on it and remain professional and remain that stylist and that person that's bringing a vision to life. How did you sort of manage that?
I think it's a lot of like self-work for me, to be honest, and making sure that like I'm always, even if I don't feel it, making sure that I feel confident, that I'm remaining professional, that I do have a kind of attitude, that I do like respond positively in negative situations. There's great times when you connect with your talent, your client, and you connect with them so hard that you just know what they want, you know what they like, you know what they don't like, you know what's going to work for them, you know what's going to fit them. You're just telepathically aligned at this point, And there's some people that you meet that you're just like, I don't connect with you. And you might work with them once, you might work with them twice, you might work with them for a while, and you just fulfill what they need to be fulfilled. Every job is different, and like that's kind of the beauty of our job. It's like every job is approached differently, every job is different. Some people you're close to, some people you're not close to. Also managing how close you should be, because it is a very personal job. You're seeing people through personal stuff, you're seeing them through like what they go through behind closed doors. You're in their home, you're in their like personal space. Like on a day that they don't want to work, you're there having to make sure that they're pepped up and in a good place to face the camera. And like it is
all professional practice, isn't it? Which a lot of you will have as modules in your curriculum, like being able to serve, you know, this purpose and remain professional and understand, you know, time management. That's real key. You know, being punctual.
There's so many moving parts.
Exactly. Of being a creative person.
And just having, I think when you're working with real people, and I think there's two differences in that. And like when you come from a publication space where maybe you're working to editorial and you're working with models, there was this idea that models are kind of like, models don't have an opinion on what they're going to wear. Models, you don't face that clash. You don't face, it's like you as the stylist make the decisions with the creative director and whomever else is involved, and that model wears it. No questions asked. When you're working with talent, you're working with a person whose job
and they've got to feel comfortable,
is not to be a model. Their job is to be a person, whomever that person is, and their opinion and how they're feeling, how they are, whether they're on that period that day, whether they don't want to be, whether they've had like a mad situation online and they don't want to be really seen like that day, or they had an argument with their partner, or
because everything's everything's on socials now.
Exactly. So it's like you're managing a lot more than just the look. You're also trying to make that person feel good, and that also comes out hair and makeup have that kind of role as well, as making sure that you're building someone's confidence up to be the brand, or be the star, or to be the name that they are for these people in the world to present to and protect them.
Talking about that, I want to now kind of springboard over to the other side of Alizé, which is the content creation and brand partnerships. So yes, on one hand, you are creating and making this vision for this talent, but on the flip side, you then become the talent and you're then facing the camera and having to deliver content. So how does that feel, like having those kind of dual roles? And how can you talk to us about content creation? Like how has that all of a sudden become thing, and
Yeah.
how do you find confidence in that and a voice in that and a narrative in that, and how can students perhaps earn from that?
So when I started, Instagram had just started. I kind of felt like there was a moment where I was like, do I just want this to be my portfolio space? Because it was just kind of like a scrolling space. And I was kind of talking about the things I was doing. But then I was just posting my outfits and stuff. And then I think over time, over the space of 10 plus years, it's like garnered a small audience. A big enough audience for people to be interested in wanting to partner with me for things.
If you were to, the world was your oyster, who would you love to style?
You know,
put it out into the universe.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Oh, okay.
I actually really love her. Sorry, that's
Amazing.
That's what I feel like everyone's gonna be like, huh? No, like, I love her.
You love her. What do you love about her?
I just think she is a truly independent, forward-thinking woman that's kind of done everything for herself and is like, isn't necessarily what you would see as traditional and dressed pretty impeccably. She's just quite a little icon.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and I love how she speaks, and Solange.
Oh, yeah.
Solange, definitely.
Amazing.
100%.
It's coming your way, Alizé. I have a feeling. As a stylist, where do you see the role of AI and tech fitting in the industry in terms of fitting online, like styling and fitting online?
I think we're already seeing the kind of progression of like where people are using AI models and they're not necessarily shooting anything actually. And I've noticed it. It's been in my peripheral vision, but because it hasn't transcended to talent yet, because technically talent still need to be present in a shoot format, it hasn't affected me per se, but I do feel like I should probably look into that.
Yeah.
So in terms of like AI for fashion, I feel like I need to delve more into what that will look like. I think if for some people, for example, like for fashion designers, that's going to be incredibly helpful. Maybe like having to invest so much money into creating a shoot and being able to still show everyone what they think a product will look like before in conception and it looking so picture perfect. You know, for a lot of people in the industry, this is helpful. But then for others, it does maybe feel like it's eradicating roles. However, how it still becomes, it's still human, it still comes from human idea. So
I like that rawness, that working process, like seeing behind the scenes. And
you still have to prompt it. Like if you want it to look a certain type of way, there's still someone to creatively ideating behind that thing, how it needs to look. So I guess it's just being prepared that our role will change, how that will look like, and being ahead of that and not looking at it as a negative.
Alizé, one last question. If you've got any advice for those students that want to break into styling, creative direction, content creation, brand partnerships, that kind of vibe, what would it be?
My advice is consistency. So making sure that, and planning and strategy, and also, I know everyone's gonna say the same thing, but authenticity. So making sure, I think a nice thing to think about is like really like deep self-reflection into yourself. Like, who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve in the next year, 2 years, 6 months? And then what kind of cultivating that, like what that's going to look like, making sure that's something that is genuinely achievable for you because it's actually coming from you, not like a fake version of you. Like, the reason why you'll be able to post every day is because you're being yourself rather than being like, oh, I need to look like this or I need to talk like this. That's not actually the true version of you. Kind of like going back to like, I don't know, I try and do this like 5 pillar thing where like, what are my 5 pillars? Like, what are my like 5 communicative aspects that I feel like people will connect with? So obviously there's me, Alizé, there's like the person, there's my outfits, there's my work, there's I like beauty, for example, and maybe like for me personally, like my neurodivergence. So that's like my 5 pillars. That's like 5 different things that I can talk about in terms of like where I am in social media. Not everyone wants to do that, that's okay. Not everyone wants to also share like the depths of their personal life. But different pillars can mean different interests. Like whether you, I don't know, love sourcing vintage shoes from a specific city, or you have a particular interest in anime, or this, that, and the third. Like, there's just so many different things that could be
Absolutely.
all these branches of yourself.
I could talk to you all day. You've absolutely nailed it. Talking about, you know, styling, working with these big music artists, managing your expectations and theirs, content creation, brand partnerships, a bit of like life coaching I feel is in there, could be another pillar. So thank you so much. And guys, don't forget to head on to our YouTube series, Making It, Creative Careers Unlocked, to look at our archive and also watch what's coming in the future.